Morning. My name is Kerry Brown, and you have just joined Hangout with Coach Kerry. We meet Monday mornings, 9 a.m. live, or you can go to hangoutwithcoachkerry.com, and Kerry is spelled Kerry, to watch past episodes. So, are you an entrepreneur that finds yourself always scrambling to find new customers or clients? Do you wonder what it would be like to have a steady stream of customers, new clients, raving fans telling other people? Well, you can have that. Absolutely you can. And you can have that if you systemize your marketing strategies. Because then you're consistent. You can track the results that you get from them. You know what you're getting a good return on your investment. Instead, if what you're doing is scrambling that any week, okay, what do I need to do to get new clients? What do I need to do to get new clients? And you have not put those systems in place, you're constantly going to be struggling. You're never going to be able to move your business forward. And say yes if you want to be able to move your business forward. Absolutely. That's what it's about. Yes, good. Because you want to be able to have a consistent stream of new customers coming in. So that someday you can be working with the ideal, just imagine what it would be like to work with your ideal client. Imagine what it would be like to work with the clients that pay you well for what you do, and you provide for them exceptional products or services. And you can do that when you have your marketing strategized, systemized, and put in place. So today I have Academy member Bonnie Mitchell with me. And Bonnie, why don't you share with our audience a little bit about your background, and then during this show we're going to have some back and forth about some of these things on marketing strategies and how to systemize them. So Bonnie, introduce yourself.
Thanks, Kerry. I'm Bonnie Mitchell of Stimulus Design, very soon to be Mitchell Creative, so I'm very excited about that. I am a graphic designer of 18 years, and I have a very unique background in that I have worked with print industry and for the print industry and the publishing industry throughout those years. So I have a very solid understanding of print and what it takes to get a project done. So I'm basically able to give my clients a complete complement of items that they need to conduct their business successfully.
Great. Thanks, Bonnie. That was a great explanation of what a great graphic designer can do and what specifically you can do to help people as far as their marketing is concerned, because anything that you put out in the marketplace has to be a representation of who you are and what it is you do. And I know that you do a great job for that, so thank you. So what I want to do is just sort of recap the whole idea of systems, because that's really, really important. The more that you have systems where you're not repeating yourself, where you are not finding yourself rethinking it at any given time, is actually a time management and efficiency strategy. And if you listen to previous episodes on time management, you'll be able to get some of those key things in place in terms of your time management. So one of them now is about putting systems in place. And I just want to sort of recap some of the things that you do. The first thing is to look at what is your ideal way of doing something. So what I call a system, you may call a process or a procedure, same thing. So what I want you to do is think about, okay, if there's something that you do every single time. So let's say it's create your newsletter, maybe something like that. Or it may be the way in which you follow up after a networking event that you go to. And every single time you do it different every time, that's inefficient and it's inconsistent. And one of the things that I've talked about on previous episodes that I really encourage you to go and watch, I talk about this whole notion of how you do anything is how you do everything. Every single potential customer experience with you, they're looking for consistency and congruency. So every touch that they have with you is consistent with that image that you put out there, with the promise of what you're going to provide for them with your product or service. So if you have put those systems in place to make sure that you're consistent every single time, then your customers are going to become raving fans of yours, because there's so few people in this world today that are consistent and congruent with what they do, that you're going to stand out in the crowd. So the first step is you're going to talk about, or actually what you're going to do is you're going to flow chart what it is that's your ideal, how you'd like things done. Then what you're going to do is you're going to go back and you're going to do it and see how what you do actually matches with that, because you may missed a couple of things. And then you're going to actually document that. Ideally, if there's someone else that you can have do that task instead of you, to test to see how well you're doing it, then that's even better. Because ultimately, someday, there are some of these tasks that you're going to delegate to someone else. It may mean that you hire them out as an outsourced contractor, especially if you're a solo entrepreneur. You may not be looking to ever have staff in terms of full-time employees. However, there are certain things that are really key for you to delegate to someone else, because there's no sense in doing well that which you shouldn't be doing at all. So I just want to key that in for you, is that even though right now you might be saying to yourself, oh, I don't have the time to systemize, it's inefficient for you not to have those systems in place. So that's the process. And then what you do is you pick another task and you do exactly the same thing over and over and over again. And we talked about the various different areas to systemize in episodes 11 and 10, and they are everything in a typical business model. So everything from all of your marketing strategies, all of your sales strategies, all of your customer service strategies, how you do your finances, how you do your administration. All of that at the end of the day are things that you're going to want to systemize. So today what we're going to talk about is our marketing strategies. So these are, what we're going to do is talk about what are the various strategies. Well, I'm a firm believer as a veteran business coach. I've coached for over 16 years now. I'm a master certified professional business coach. I deal with people just like you every single day. And what I've discovered is that often they end up doing the same things over and over again, and they don't have a way to check in with, is that a system that is working, or is that strategy even working? Sometimes they get stuck doing the same things and they need some inspiration. And Bonnie, do you find that having an opportunity to be able to check with the assumptions you've made, maybe have somebody inspire you to try on a new strategy, do you find that's really important for you?
Yes, I do, because what I find is I do get stuck in a rut. I will do the same things over and over again, and sometimes it is good to have that outside influence to make you rethink what it is you're doing and how efficient is it.
Great, thanks. That's why I really encourage you, you meaning our listeners, and you, of course, Bonnie, as well, is to make sure that you have a community that you connect with. A community can either be a business coach, by hiring a business coach. It could be a MasterMind group where your assumptions are tested. It can also be by coming to hang out with Coach Kerry and commenting on the various episodes, and you'll get some coaching from me for that. So there's many ways to make sure that you have a community. Make sure that that community, though, is skilled and actually know what the advice they're giving. Because our friends and family are well-meaning. Absolutely they are. But the fact of the matter is that they might not have the skills and experience to give you the information that you need or to test your assumptions. Sometimes they'll just say yes to the things that you're doing or you're asking them for advice on. However, they might not give you the real feedback that you need. Bonnie, how important have you found community in terms of building your business and its success that you've had?
Well, without it, I wouldn't be where I am today. So for me, it's been a lot of networking events and just letting people know I'm out there and what I do. And yeah, it's been amazing. So it really does pay to get out there and to consistently be out there.
Great. Thanks for that affirmation, especially for the audience here, because I think sometimes we think Oh, do I, I'm so busy during the day, I don't have time to do those things. Well, sometimes we can run into the trap of being so busy trying to make money that we actually avoid doing the things that we need to be doing. And that's a perfect segue into systemizing those things. So whether you feel like it or not, the things get done. So this isn't just about systemizing the actual steps that you do, but it's also putting systems in place to make sure you actually do the things that you need to do those important things. And one of the key things is marketing. And the reason I'm starting with marketing is because without marketing, we have no potential customers to use our sales process with, our sales system with. And without converting those potential customers, those leads, into customers, then we have no one to provide good customer service strategies to. We have no one to provide, as past customers, good customer service strategies with. So everything starts with the beginning of the funnel, so to speak, with marketing. So I encourage my clients over time to develop 10, yes, that's 10 consistent marketing strategies that you know are giving you predictable results. Because your number one priority as a small business owner, as an entrepreneur, is to create predictable income. And that's through using marketing strategies that actually get your phone to ring, get your email inbox to be filled with inquiries, to get your website hits up, to have people engage with you in social media, and all of that, so then you can convert those into paying clients. So let's talk about what some of those might be. Now I'm going to have you focus initially on your first marketing strategy and get it working and get at least the systems in place so that you know consistently you're doing it. Then you add another one, then you add another one, and then you add another one. So today I'm going to talk about what I call the first 5. And I think as a solopreneur, these are the first 5 these first 5 strategies, remember we're talking about marketing strategies that you want to have in place to start creating that predictable income. And who says, is there anybody out there who needs some more predictable income?
Yes.
Good. Okay. I'm sure all of our audience is saying that as well. So our first one again is, actually before we start those five strategies I'm going to talk about, your number one intention right now is to start building your database. Because unless you have people to market to give your message to tell them what makes you unique in the marketplace, why you over someone else, then the path to your door, so to speak, will be overridden with weeds and grass, because no one's going to be coming to you. So your number one priority is to build your database, those potential people who are leads, and then you convert into paying customers. So how do you do that? You do that through various different strategies, various different ways people are going to interact with you. And that's what we're going to talk about right now, is marketing. So the first one is networking. As a solopreneur, often your cash budget or your budget is restricted. You don't have a lot of money behind you to do what I'm going to call traditional advertising or any kind of print media. And so it's really key that you are your business and you need to be out connecting with people in the marketplace. So you're going to use various different networking opportunities to be able to build that list of people, to build that database. So networking is one of the key marketing strategies that I recommend to all of my clients. Now, Bonnie, in a moment I'm going to ask you about networking for you and kind of where you were initially when you started networking and where you are today with networking and how valuable that's been as a marketing strategy for you. But before I go over to Bonnie, what I want to differentiate is there is a distinction between advertising and marketing. And as a solopreneur, the minute that you hang your shingle up, you will be approached by many people to advertise. So that may be on the radio, it may be in local newspapers, it may be any kind of print media, magazines. And I want you to be very careful that unless you have a budget that you've actually set it ahead of time, and expecting to put that money out there to brand you, to get that image out there, there are marketing strategies that are more cost effective for the solo entrepreneur and small business owner. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. So, Bonnie, just went to networking as the strategy that I started with first. Tell our listeners your kind of story and how you've incorporated networking into one of your marketing strategies.
Thanks, Kerry. Yeah, basically, I do attend 2 or 3 networking events on a regular basis, and I'm a shy sort of person, so walking into those rooms for me was very difficult at first. But the more you do it, the more you really do get used to it, and it actually becomes a lot of fun. But that aside, I have found that I have met a number of people who have become regular contacts for me, and these people, while they may not have done any work with me, they have been a source of referrals for me. So they've been passing my name on to other people, and they've been helping me build my community through that aspect, and that's been invaluable.
Great. Thanks, Bonnie. And I don't think you're alone. There are a lot of people today who have some trepidation about going out and networking. And the reason is they're looking for that perfect elevator speech. And we'll devote an episode to that alone. Here's what I want to encourage you to do. Rather than worrying so much about how smart you sound or how perfect your elevator pitch is, be much more curious about them. Ask them questions. Find out how you can be a connector for them. That's a really key piece. And we'll even devote an upcoming episode just on networking strategies as well. So I'm going to touch the surface on networking today, and we'll go into a much deeper dive on that in an upcoming episode if you'd like to hear more about networking strategies. But one of the key things is to be curious about the person you're talking to, because who do they want to talk about? Themselves. They want you to know their message. And the more you ask questions and the more you continue to be curious about who their customer is, how long they've been in business, what do they find interesting about their business, even learn about themselves, you're going to be the hero, and you're going to start building that relationship. Because really what we're talking about here is relationship networking. So I'm going to really encourage you when you go out and network to think of it from that context, because it's much easier to go out and ask people questions about what they're doing than for you to kind of be on the hot seat. Because I'm going to guarantee you that if you go out to a networking event with the intention that you want to get some business from that event, it will not happen. The law of attraction will not be working for you because your intention's in the wrong place. It's about relationship building. And you're going to build relationships with those people so then they are interested in being part of your community. You're going to be building your database, of which then you can talk to them about your area of expertise, what makes you different, and then you can create that know, like, and trust, which is really key to build in building those relationships. So networking is the number one. The second one is building a referral network. Now, Bonnie, you already made reference to that as you go out and you network and you build those relationships, then you're much more likely to get referrals. I find that, and even people who have not necessarily done business with you, but they like you, and when there's an opportunity to do business with you, they will. I get asked all the time as a business coach, how should I incentivize to get referrals? And here's my philosophy on this, is that I believe people will refer you and they'll become your raving fans, not because you pay them to do it. They will do it because they like what you say, they like who you are, and they think you are the best person for that connection. So when you build a referral system, the referral system is about building relationships with people. And then when you get a referral, absolutely you want to thank them. And that's part of the system in place. So if you get a referral from someone, how do you go about thanking them? Do you send them a handwritten card? Do you send them a bouquet of flowers? Do you send them a gift certificate that's something that's unique to them? So I'm going to challenge you to put that system in place regarding referrals. And I'm going to go back for a moment and talk about networking, because I'm not certain that I talked about how you systemize that. So for an example, if Bonnie goes out to a networking event, then what I would encourage her to do is that next morning is to follow up with those people that she's built that connection with. And what does she follow up with? Well, a conversation, maybe a virtual introduction to someone who may be a good potential client for them, or an introduction of someone who may be a good strategic alliance for them. You want to be the connector. So every single piece along the way, you want to have a process, a system in place to make sure that's done. Even so much that in your email calendar or your daily calendar, there's a note saying follow up with contacts that I met from the night before. So that creates that system. So even if you don't feel like it, or you get busy, or there's a crisis in your business, you still know that that piece has to get done. So let's go on to the third one that I'm going to recommend. And that one is social media. For those of you who are saying, well, I just don't see how social media is going to help me, or it takes too much time, or I'm not seeing the results from that, I'm really going to encourage you to embrace social media. It is here to stay. And it's a marketing strategy. It's not something separate and apart. It's actually a networking strategy that we just kind of broken out from networking itself, from going to local networking events, trade associations, that type of stuff. Specifically, social media is an opportunity for you to build and cement those relationships. So if you've been out networking and then you connect with that person on social media, you're building that know, like, and trust factor over time. So social media does that. It helps you establish yourself as an expert in the industry. So how are you going to systemize that? What are the things you're going to do? Well, consistency is really important. So I recommend that you, if you are unfamiliar with social media, is you actually hire an expert to give you some strategies. And please, 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 as a solo entrepreneur, do this work yourself, because it's your voice that's really critical. At some point in your business, you may be able to delegate it, not social media. It would be as if Bonnie here said, well, there's a networking event tomorrow. I'm not going to go, but I'm going to send Kerry instead of me. Well, I'm not Bonnie. I can't speak about Bonnie's expertise. I can't start building a relationship for Bonnie because I'm not Bonnie. So it's exactly the same thing with social media. So the system or process you're going to put in place is maybe Monday, Wednesday, and Friday you do some posting in your social media. You have a calendar that lays out all the big events a year. You lay out certain times that might be appropriate to your ideal clients that you're giving them information. So you understand what you're going to be talking about because it's strategic. And you do that by systemizing that. And then the last one I'm going to talk about, so this is going to be number 4, so this isn't the last one, this is the fourth one, is sponsorships. As a great way to get your name out in the marketplace is for you to offer some kind of sponsorship to local charity events. And what I'm going to encourage you to do is you establish a criteria. Because what will happen is that fairly soon, once you get your name out, is you will be getting lots of requests to sponsor events or to make donations to charity events. And what I'm going to suggest that you do is you have a criteria by which you decide which one you're going to select and what it is that you offer. And this is where you're going to test a little bit about some of the results that you get. Because sponsorships can be a great way for you to get your name out there, and really doesn't cost you a lot of money to do that. And the last one, number 5, is a newsletter or blog. And that's a marketing strategy. Because again, you're going to be talking to those people that are coming to your website. that are on social media, and they're going to be linked to your blog. It's all building your credibility, building your expertise in the marketplace, building that funnel of people. So remember, your number one priority was to build your database. So you need to be looking for ways to build that database. So a newsletter or blog has to be systemized. How often? What are the steps you actually do to create your newsletter? What's going to be your calendar of blog topics so that they're strategic? All of that, you want to create systems around that. So Bonnie, in a minute I'm going to ask you about those 5 different strategies I've talked about, and if you have any questions for me, any coaching you'd like for me on any of those 5, that would be great, because I'm sure our listeners might have some as well, and any question you have would be valuable for them. So Bonnie, of the 5 that I've talked about, any particular questions for any or all of them?
Well, I do have a couple questions for you, actually. And the first question is, how often do you need to attend a networking event to be considered consistent? So, for example, if I've got 5 networking events that I do, but a lot of them fall on the same day, so I have to stagger that every couple months, or what's acceptable in that time frame of reappearing at these events?
That's a really great question, and part of putting a system in place is to actually also measure the results from the events you're going to, or the strategies that you're using. So we're talking about networking in specific, and so start tracking how often you're going and the kind of results you're getting from them. Because one of the things you may take a look at is which one of those is more likely to be one where your ideal client is going to show up, and you want to be very consistent with that one. And you may let others go to the side. Because if you're meeting once a month at an event, and you're going every 2 or 3 months, I guarantee you people won't remember who you are until you've established that foundation of a connection at that event. So this sort of raises the point. If you're trying to decide which event you're going to go to, pick the one where you're most likely your ideal client, and be absolutely consistent about showing up to that one and monitoring the results, because you're going to be testing it. And then if you're not getting your results that you're looking for, then you go on to a next one. And we probably will even devote an upcoming episode to what are expectations in terms of results. It takes time to build relationships. And if you're inconsistent and you're going here and here and here, it makes sense theoretically that you want to cast a wide net. The problem is that you never have an opportunity to build those deeper relationships. So Bonnie, did that answer your question?
Yes, that did. Thank you.
Okay. And then you said you had a couple more, so go ahead, fire them at me.
Yes, one is actually to do with social media, because that is one of the last areas that I have been developing, and being a graphic designer, I know that I need to get out there with social media and start basically showing my work, putting a bit more of a portfolio out there. So my question around that is not so much how do you make the time, but how much time would you allot to something like that? So for example, I understand that there's the reading aspect, the finding your material you want to post, and finding the time to post it. But how would you structure that sort of time?
Okay, great. So again, what we're talking here is systemizing your social media strategies. So what I always say you're going to pick one first, and you're going to pick one that is most appropriate for you. So given that you're a graphic designer, you're going to want to pick one that's visual. And you're then, because obviously you're a visual business, and then you're going to start building your audience when it comes to that. I would recommend that what you do is you set aside some time every single day, 15 minutes, to be on social media, to be engaging and connecting. Now again, I'm not necessarily a social media expert or strategist, and there's lots of people who are, but my understanding is you want to be engaging often enough and consistently enough. It's the same thing about your networking question. You have to be showing up often enough that people recognize who you are and see your area of expertise and know what makes you different and sets you apart from the crowd. So thanks, Bonnie. Those were a couple of really great questions, and I hope that they helped our audience as well. I know we covered a ton here, and we may actually do a deeper dive into each of these particular topics on upcoming episodes. So remember, it's at 9 a.m. Mondays, 9 a.m. Mondays Pacific. We're live, and you can find them on hangoutwithcoachkerry.com, where you can see all past episodes as well. So I want to tell you what we're going to talk about next week, and that is that how do you systemize your marketing strategies to keep them back? First of all, to keep your current customers, and then keep them coming back over and over and over again. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, and we're going to do a little deeper dive into that next week. So again, that's 9 a.m. Mondays Pacific on Hangout with Coach Kerry on Google Hangouts and at hangoutwithcoachkerry.com. So until then, have a really productive week, and I'll talk to you all then. Bye-bye.